welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, it's a busy day at the EFCC. Anti-graft agency quizzes former Minister of State for Defense Musiliu Obanikoro in Abuja and 2 federal high court judges in Lagos. Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption recommends plea bargain as alternative means of settling corruption cases. S.A. Oruru's family cries out, alleges Bayelsa State government neglect of the teenage girl and her baby after her return from Kano. And pro-government forces record significant gains in a massive operation to retake last major stronghold of Islamic State in Iraq.
On Business News tonight, Financial Reporting Council gets approval to issue the new National Code of Corporate Governance.
And on sports news tonight, the Association of Tennis Professionals bans Australia's Nick Kyrgios for 8 weeks plus $25,000 fine for misconduct at Shanghai Masters.
And from Abuja, I'm Linda Akibe. Communal clash over chieftaincy in New Netton town of Cross River State leaves at least 20 people dead and town totally deserted.
We begin tonight with recommendations from the report of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption 1 year after its inauguration. The chairman of the committee, Professor Ishe Sage, says Nigeria needs an upright judiciary without which the nation's democracy would collapse. The 2015-2016 report recommends that plea bargaining be used as an alternative means of settling corruption cases. Our correspondent Gloria Umezuke reports.
The sudden raid of some judges' houses by operatives of the Department of State Services and the subsequent arrest of the judicial officers recently drew a plethora of reactions, yet to abate.
Cries of human rights.
Chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption describes the president's anti-corruption crusade as right, while criticisms from Nigerians as totally wrong and shocking.
We need the judiciary, but we need an upright judiciary. Without that, one arm of government would collapse, democracy would collapse. Let us think of the implication of what's going on. So if we don't put the judiciary right, if we don't have a judiciary in which we have confidence, a judiciary with integrity and honor, a judiciary with moral authority, then we have no government and we have no democracy. There are Nigerians who are now saying, oh, we are suffering a lot of hardship now since the Buhari government came. We were better off under corruption. Isn't that the most terrible thing for anybody to mouth, without considering what would have happened if Buhari had not come?
In its report from August 2015 to July 2016, the Executive Secretary highlighted areas of concentration. Amongst other things, the committee clearly maps out sentencing guidelines for high-profile cases where huge monies are trapped.
This contract was awarded 10 billion. It was not done. So we bring you and bring contractor. Where is 10 billion? The money left government. Road has not been done. Where is 10 billion? If you sit down and do simple arithmetics of all those high-profile cases, just add the sums and see how much you come up with. It will be far above 2 trillion. Oh, yes. Far above 2 trillion. Just add it up like that. Because the state has not recovered the money, we will see the effect in the economy.
Looking forward, the committee hopes to scale up interactions across the board to reduce corruption in the country. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
To the return of the former Minister of State for Defense, Musiliu Obanikoro, 3 months after his invitation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Senator Obanikoro, who arrived in Abuja from the US today around 8 a.m., later proceeded to an EFCC facility. The former minister, who also represented Lagos State in the Senate, had been a subject of interest to the anti-graft agency in connection with alleged diversion of arms, funds, and Mr. Obanikoro was also named in connection with alleged manipulation of the Ekiti State governorship election in 2014. He, however, left for the United States of America in December 2015, where he said he was pursuing leadership and language courses at an American university. Our source at the agency says Mr. Obanikoro reported to the Commission uninvited. Meanwhile, two federal High Court judges, Muhammad Yunusa and Ajia Ngajua, have also reported to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The judges arrived at the Commission's Lagos office today around 10 a.m. following an invitation from the EFCC. That invitation follows the bribery and money laundering allegations the Commission discovered while investigating a case in which two senior lawyers have already been arraigned. On March the 9th, the EFCC had arraigned two senior advocates of Nigeria, Ricky Tarfa and Joseph Mwobike, before a Lagos High Court on allegations of bribery and offering gratification to a public official. Subsequent investigations revealed that the two judges allegedly received sums of money from the two senior lawyers several times. In another development, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has asked heads of ministries, departments and agencies of government and the private sector to be wary of fraudulent acts by their subordinates. Addressing participants at an anti-corruption forum in Abuja, the ICPC chairman, Mr. Ekwonta, said there is a need for heads of agencies to prevent corruption through effective supervision of their subordinates. He, however, admits that the fight against corruption is not peculiar to Nigeria alone.
It is a training program for directorate-level staff of ministries, departments and agencies of government. The chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices Commission advocates the need for a paradigm shift in the fight against corruption.
We do not wish to wait until infractions are committed before we begin to arrest most of the leaders we've been seeing in our country. What we do is a deliberate process of passing them through training programs like this.
The provost of the Anti-Corruption Academy, which is a training arm of the ICPC, advised participants to initiate workable integrity management systems that will check the perpetration of corruption.
The two programs are meant to develop leaders to lead the war against corruption in agencies of government and in the private sector. Too often we try to see the war against corruption as something left to the government and something left to the anti-corruption agencies. But it is something that is meant for all of us.
Still on corruption, but at a different forum, a coalition of civil society groups under the umbrella of National Support Groups for Good Governance expressed support for the fight against corruption in the judiciary.
The recent arrest of some alleged corrupt judges by agents of Department of State Services, DSS, has raised a lot of debate and a lot of sentiments too. But the point that must be made is that nobody should be seen to be allowed to be above the law.
Although the Department of State Services is yet to arraign any of the judges arrested over allegations of corruption, the fight against corruption continues to be a top priority of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari.
From the fight against corruption to the fight against other types of crime, now many people in South Africa link drug-related crimes in their country to Nigerians, but Nigerians resident there appear set to change that perception. The Nigerian Union in South Africa has kick-started a campaign against drugs and prostitution in line with the country's efforts to eradicate the problem. The group says this has become necessary because there are many Nigerians who are law-abiding in that country. Our Johannesburg Bureau Chief Betty Debia was there and now reports.
It's a long-awaited campaign against prostitution, drugs and related crimes expected to take place across South Africa's 9 provinces for a problem that often taints Nigeria's image.
It is a struggle we intend to win, but we cannot do it alone. We need your support.
South African police to be very happy. To be happy that a committee of this nature that's intended to fight crime is the committee that we're waiting for. Thank you very much for that.
Nearly 250,000 people are enslaved in South Africa, according to the latest Global Slavery Index. Many of them are forced into prostitution and drugs. Often among the perpetrators from various countries are Nigerians. Ms. Sherlene Chabangu is an activist who has come face to face with perpetrators and victims alike.
In most cases that we have dealt with, always the name name of Nigeria comes up. That really hurts.
Unfortunately, it is very bad in the Northern Cape. We're not comfortable with it, especially those of us that are fortunate to be doing security services business in South Africa.
I have a lot of responsibility facing me.
It's tough for many young Nigerians who find their way somehow to South Africa. Many get into trouble hustling, and it doesn't always end well. It's also tough for the foreign missions and those who have sworn to be there for others.
South Africa remains home to many Nigerians, and there are lots of people who are gainfully employed here in South Africa, but there are very few ones that are involved in drugs who of course, bring that name to Nigeria, to the country.
I know that we will combat this thing very, very well, and we will try to create awareness to let people know that there are other businesses apart from this trafficking and these drugs.
It's the morning after the night of the launch of the Nigerian Union's campaign against drugs and prostitution. Going forward, we'll be watching to see how much of all that talk will be walked, especially for the benefit of the victims. From Kimberley, the Northern Cape, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
And back here in Nigeria, the Federal High Court in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, has again adjourned the hearing of S.A. Oruru's case to December the 8th, 2016. Now, this follows the absence of the presiding judge, Justice Ajia Ngajia, who reported to the EFCC in Lagos today. While the hearing of the case is expected to progress on the said date, it's a different worry for S.A. Oruru and her family as they are in dire need of help.
It was a case that generated a lot of interest from the media, civil society groups, religious groups, and even the government. But since S.A. Oruru reunited with her family, the attention to the case dropped. S.A. and her family are complaining of being abandoned, as all promises made to them are yet to be met.
My daughter had to go back to school because she's complaining that she has lose hope that now she wants to start school. So I'm calling on the Delta State government to come to our aid in helping the child to go to school, because I want the child to go to school.
That place where they bring my daughter with the pregnancy, they say the government of Bayelsa say they go take off everything. They take off my daughter where she was with the pregnancy. After she delivered, nobody care about her.
Yunusa Dairu, the suspect who allegedly abducted Essie and presently on bail, however, was present in court. The defense lawyer, who shares the same opinion with his client, is optimistic and quite eager to continue with the case. But a member of the prosecuting team believes they are still on course, even though no reason has been communicated as to why the court didn't sit.
The court did not sit today. I don't have that information yet. Okay. What we are just told now is that the court is not sitting. We are all prepared. We are prepared to even close our examination of the PW1 today. Okay. Well, unfortunately, we don't have a reason yet. We don't know the reason. I believe courts will have started ordinarily. There must be a reason why the court did not sit.
Came to court thinking that the matter will go on, but surprisingly, the court did not sit. We still do not want to preempt the court. I think this is the very first time. Besides the previous time, it was it fell on a public holiday when the court did not sit. This is the very first time. We are still optimistic that the next adjourned dates, we believe that the matter will go on properly.
While the Nigerian public closely monitors the proceedings regarding the trial of the accused Yunusa, the family of S.A. Oruru are seeking for more assistance to help them rehabilitate their daughter and grandchild.
In part 2, after the break, Plateau State government considers amnesty deal for owners of illegal firearms, offers to exchange cash for arms as compensation. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.